Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Dodd with you on your Sunday morning. It is Sunday, August 29, 2021. It was exactly 16 years ago today. We all watched in horror a live coverage of Hurricane Katrina slamming into New Orleans, Louisiana, killing 1,800 people in her path and causing billions of dollars worth of damage. And unfortunately, here we go again. And this has the makings of being just as bad as Katrina ever thought about being. All kind of situations already unfolding down there, and we haven't even had landfall just yet. Would you look at that? Folks, I almost can guarantee you that in your lifetime, you will never see another hurricane that looks as symmetrical and structurally sound as Hurricane Ida. This is a 100-year storm, if not a 500-year storm. Heck, I might even call this a 1,000-year storm. Now, that doesn't mean that you absolutely won't see anything like this again in your lifetime, but the odds, yeah, the odds are against you that you'll ever see this again. Look at that eye. We have convection 360 degrees around the center of circulation. The latest aircraft reconnaissance planes have just come back out of the storm. Folks, we are at 150 mile per hour winds. Will we hit Category 5? That is a distinct possibility, as we have probably about 5 to 6 hours to go before the eye wall actually makes landfall south of Houma, Louisiana. So there is a chance we could go to Category 5 before landfall takes place. This is absolutely unprecedented. It is insane. If anybody stayed down there, especially along the coastline, they are going to be regretting it, because this is absolutely going to be horrible. And I'm just afraid for what the aftermath is going to look like. I'm afraid we're going to see video from southern Louisiana at least, and maybe even also in New Orleans, that will rival what we saw when Hurricane Katrina hit 16 years ago today. That is just insane. All right, so let's take a look at the Big Easy this morning. This is Bourbon Street in downtown New Orleans. Everything looks pretty good down there right now, but that will slowly degrade as we go throughout the day. Probably will lose power down there on Bourbon Street. Don't know how long we're going to be able to watch this camera. I was looking at some live video coming off of Grand Isle, Louisiana, earlier this morning, and you can see, or could see, we've since lost that feed, or I'd show it to you now, but you could see that water levels were already coming up down there. Of course, all of those homes down there at Grand Isle, just as they are at Gulf Shores, Dauphin Island, they're built up off of the water, but you could already see water under those structures at Grand Isle this morning, and the storm is still about 6 hours away from making landfall. Storm surge up to 16 feet across some portions of southern Louisiana. We're going to see storm surge problems basically from Lake Charles all the way back to Gulf Shores, Alabama. They have increased the storm surge in the mouth of the Mobile Bay now, and we're going to show you all that coming up in this edition of your Primetime Forecast. All right, let's talk about the Storm Prediction Center convective outlook for your Sunday. Of course, severe weather is a good possibility down there in southwest Alabama, all the way back to about Lake Charles, Louisiana. And that is going to continue for the next foreseeable future across that part of the southeastern United States. And we'll also have a marginal risk of severe weather, really from Apalachicola, Florida, back up through about maybe Dothan, Alabama, then over to around Tuscaloosa, and then just about the entire state of Mississippi, extreme southeast Arkansas, and back over into central Louisiana. That, where you see the dark green, is the area where those feeder bands will be coming up off the Gulf of Mexico And so you'll have pockets of severe storms as those storms start to rotate to the left or wrap around the center of circulation of Ida. You start to get veering in the atmosphere. That's where those storms could start to rotate, and that's where they could go severe and drop those quick spin-up tornadoes. Not a problem across East Alabama and West Georgia today, but that may change into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and on Tuesday. And I will show you what I am talking about. All right, so here's Monday. Notice how the severe weather threat continues to move to the north and will turn a little bit to the right as the storm moves up across West Mississippi and begins to veer more to the north and then eventually northeast. That's going to push that severe weather threat back toward East Alabama. Because again, what we're going to be watching for are the storms out there in the Gulf of Mexico as they stream north. And you can kind of watch down there when those storms start coming up over Panama City. That's when East Alabama and West Georgia is going to really have to start watching out, because that's where your weather is going to come from on Monday. And then we will go to Tuesday. You'll see that marginal risk moves even further to the east. Now we're talking about basically from Cherokee, North Carolina, all the way across north and central Georgia down into northwest Florida. All of East Alabama will be under the gun on Tuesday. I think that threat may actually last into Tuesday evening, and it may be sometime Wednesday before we completely get done with what will be left of Ida by that time. So this is a long duration event. Is it going to storm the entire time? Absolutely not. And you probably, we could have some storms this afternoon, but they will really not be associated with Ida. Our Ida type storms will start tomorrow afternoon, being Monday, and then continue Monday night into Tuesday, potentially into Tuesday night, and maybe even into early Wednesday morning. We'll just have to see what the forward progress of this storm ends up being. All right, so let's jump into our tropical discussion this morning. We'll start off with the cone of uncertainty. And I think we could change the name of this today to the cone of certainty, because the National Hurricane Center, other than the rapid intensification as it came across Cuba, the National Hurricane Center has pegged this one. We're talking they put that dart right symmetrically in the exact middle of that bullseye. And this forecast has been ongoing now for about a week, or a little less than a week, and they have had it absolutely correct the entire time. We had the track pegged at least 4 days ago, and it hasn't wavered much at all. So kudos to the National Hurricane Center. They have done a phenomenal job with the forecast for Ida. So this morning at 4 a.m., you see Ida there just south of Grand Isle, Louisiana. Now, the graphic here shows maximum sustained winds of 140, but a Hurricane Hunter aircraft just came back about 30 minutes ago, and they are now showing 150 mile per hour sustained winds. And those hurricane force winds extend outward around 40 miles from the center of circulation. So 40 miles, we're talking an 80-mile circumference on either side of the eye of the hurricane, probably a little bit further on the right side than the left. But we're talking about a 100-mile wide path here, folks. Now stop and think about what I'm telling you. We're talking about a 100-mile wide path of sustained winds of at least 150 miles per hour. There will be gusts approaching 170 to 180 miles per hour. Other than hurricane-built concrete and metal structures, nothing will withstand that. I'm talking every tree, every power pole, every stick-built home is coming to the ground in that path. And this is what the officials of Louisiana have been trying to tell their people. This is catastrophic. This is rivaling biblical. There will be nothing left within a 100-mile wide path of where the eye comes on shore. Now, one of the problems that and I'm not second guessing the local officials in New Orleans or the state officials in Louisiana, but one of the things that is really troublesome this morning to me is that they did not invoke contraflow and a mandatory evacuation for the city of New Orleans because they didn't feel like they had time to get everybody out. Yet they were turning around and telling everybody to get out. I've been preaching get out. All media outlets have been preaching get out. The local National Weather Service office down there yesterday afternoon put out a statement, and it gave me goosebumps to read it. I mean, some of the verbiage they were using, trying to make local folks understand they need to get out. And then we were seeing video from national news media yesterday afternoon of traffic backed up for miles trying to get out of New Orleans on the northbound lanes, or I guess maybe the eastbound lanes. Yet the other lanes coming into New Orleans were like a ghost town. Now, I know I'm an emergency manager. I get it. It takes time to mobilize people to make things like that happen. I understand it. I don't know exactly what their plan is in New Orleans. I've never seen it. I don't understand it, so I can't second guess it. But I can tell you this. It blows my mind that after what we saw in Hurricane Katrina, that they couldn't come up with some type of plan to go into contraflow a lot quicker. I mean, we had, 36 hours? How long does it take? If it takes more than 36 hours to reverse the lanes on I-10 coming out of New Orleans, then they need to rethink their plan. They need to come up with a better plan. I mean, I would think that within 12 hours, and again, folks, there may be something I'm totally missing, and I'll give them that benefit of a doubt. But the message that sends to the people of New Orleans, yeah, get out, but we're not going to give you the avenue to get out. I'm afraid that's going to be another horror story, just as we saw when Katrina hit. Local, state, and federal government did not respond to Katrina the way it should have happened. And that's why we saw such horrible video coming from the downtown New Orleans and people stranded. I mean, it was just incredible. I'm afraid we're going to see some of that again. I don't know that we see that to the magnitude here because the levees have been repaired. We'll find out. This is as good a test as you'll ever get to see if the levees are going to be able to hold this. We're talking 15 to 20 inches of rain in New Orleans, and that's gonna put the levee to a test. Okay, off my soapbox. Let's move on. Here are the spaghetti models this morning. You see how tightly grouped they are, so very little question here on what the track of this storm is going to be. But you'll notice that Alabama and Georgia, North and South Carolina, most of Tennessee, and even parts of the Florida Panhandle and Northwest Florida are going to stay on the dirty side of this storm for several days. While we will not get the direct effects from Ida, we will not get the hurricane winds, obviously. We will not get the tropical storm force winds, with the exception of southwest Alabama. Now, you folks down there, Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach. Yeah, you're going to have a stormy Sunday night, and Monday, and maybe even into Tuesday. But for the majority, we're not going to see, especially across East Alabama and West Georgia, we're not going to see hurricane force winds. We're not going to see tropical storm force winds. We're not going to see continuous rain for days. What we're going to have is occasional scattered showers and thunderstorms with tropical downpours. Some of those storms could be strong to severe, and we could see a few spin-up tornadoes, especially into Monday evening and Tuesday morning, as those feeder bands spiral up across East Alabama and West Georgia. Obviously, the further west you go, the worse the weather is going to get. Over in West Alabama, we could be looking at some flooding issues. We could be looking, and I'll show you that graphic in just a few moments. And then the further north you go, up around the Tennessee Valley region, closer you are to the center of circulation of Ida, and eventually what's left of Ida, the worse the weather is going to be. This is just scary to look at. This is Hurricane Ida model intensity guidance. We are already at a strong Category 4. Could we go to Category 5 just before landfall? That is certainly possible. We saw that happen with Hurricane Michael down in the Big Bend area, Mexico Beach, there in Florida. We saw Michael briefly go to hurricane status 5 just as he was making landfall. So we could see that again with Ida. This is the peak storm surge forecast graphic from the from Tropical Tidbits. And actually, we're looking now at 3 to 5 feet of storm surge in the Mobile Bay area, which is an increase from what we saw this time yesterday. So that's 3 to 5 feet of storm surge above normal dry ground. So if you're familiar with Gulf Shores out there on the western end, out there around Fort Morgan, 5 feet will completely overwash that side of the island. It'll be completely underwater. Now, most of the structures out there are built up off of the ground, high enough to be able to sustain that. But the roadway and the entire western tip of Gulf Shores out there around Fort Morgan will be completely underwater as we get underway this afternoon and tonight. So if you're out there, I'm sure the local authorities are telling you to get out. Don't play around. Go ahead, pack your stuff up, and get out from down there. You don't want to play with this. I mean, we're talking some inland flooding all the way over probably to Destin, Fort Walton. I mean, we're looking at 1 to 3 feet of storm surge over there around Pensacola and all the way over to Destin. And then as you go back to the west, 4 to 7 feet right there along the Alabama-Mississippi state line, Ocean Springs. And then we get over to Bay St. Louis, we're looking at 6 to 9 feet. That will cause some significant inland flooding. And then as we get over to the mouth of the Mississippi River, we're looking at 8 to 12. And then when we get over there where the storm is going to make landfall, south of Houma, Louisiana, wow, 12 to 16 feet of storm surge. And then, folks, you have to consider the wave lap on top of that. Again, the entire southern half of the state of Louisiana is going to be flooded. And we're already seeing flooding down there, and the storm's still 4 to 6 hours away from making landfall. And that backs off as you get back over toward the Texas line to 1 to 3 feet. Incredible stuff right here. All right, so here's the rainfall expected across the state of Alabama. Again, West Alabama certainly entertains the possibility of seeing the heaviest rainfall. No question there. 4 to 6 inches will be common across West Alabama. Down in the Mobile area, we're looking at 6 to 8 inches of rain. And again, folks, that's on top of the storm surge that's expected down there. So if you're down there on the beach, if you're anywhere around Mobile Bay, if you're anywhere from, I would say, from Orange Beach west, it's time to come on north. It's time to get out. Don't stay down there and take this chance. There's no reason to. And then as you get over into central Alabama, we're looking, I think a good average is 2 to 3 inches. And then East Alabama, a good average is 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Southeast Alabama may escape this thing with very little rainfall. I mean, down there in Dothan, we're looking at 1/2 to 1 inch, maybe. Around Eufaula, we're looking at 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe. Across most of Dr. Don's coverage area, along I-85, we're looking at 1/2 to 1 inch. North of I-85, we're looking at 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Now, if we get one of those heavy feeder bands that kind of sit on top of us or any one particular location for any length of time, there could be some isolated spots that could get more than that. So, you know, to see a total storm rainfall report of 2 to 3 inches across East Alabama is not going to surprise me once all is said and done. Again, there she is this morning, and This one's going to go in the record books. This is the third time the name Ida has been used for hurricanes. And already Ida has been recorded in the record books, and Ida will be retired after this storm is over with. Officially, the title of Ida the hurricane probably only has about 12 hours left in her lifetime. And then that name is going to go away. It'll never be used again. And, wow, she is poised to cause some horrific issues across southern Louisiana, all the way up to Baton Rouge, and then up across western sections of Mississippi. It is going to be a horrible day down in that part of the country. So here are the opportunities for flooding. We'll just talk about East Alabama and West Georgia. Only about a 5% chance that we will see any flooding issues across our area. Then the yellow is a 10% chance. The red is a moderate chance of flooding. And then the purple, of course, is high. You don't want to be in the yellow. You don't want to be in the red. You don't want to be in the purple. Green, we can live with that. Look over there to the right side. What you're looking at on the left is day 2. That would be through Tuesday morning. And then down there on the lower right-hand side is day 3. That would be through Wednesday morning. So you can see that yellow up there across North Alabama and Northwest Georgia is awfully close. So we'll have to keep an eye on it as we get into Monday night and Tuesday. But right now, we're not anticipating any major flooding issues across Alabama or Georgia. So last stop this morning, here is the severe weather threat potential for the state of Alabama. And this graphic starts at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning and runs through 4 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. So down in southwest Alabama, the greatest threat for severe weather, and we're talking places like Selma, Demopolis, all the way down to Mobile, 4 a.m. Monday through 7 a.m. Tuesday. Northwest and west central Alabama, Tuscaloosa, 10 a.m. Monday through 10 a.m. Tuesday. And then basically along I-65 down south of Montgomery and to the east, Gadsden, Anniston, Wedowee, Auburn, Montgomery, Troy, and our West Georgia counties, 10 p.m. Monday through 4 p.m. Tuesday. Not to say we could not have a rogue strong storm anytime between now and then, but the greatest window of opportunity will be 10 o'clock tomorrow night through about 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. All right, here we go with your expected afternoon high temperatures for your Sunday. Roanoke will hit 88 this afternoon. Wedowee goes to 86. Lineville 86. Ashland will go to 88 this afternoon. Probably more clouds than sun, though a peek at the sun, especially this morning, can't be ruled out. Then I think this afternoon we cloud up and we'll have that chance of showers and thunderstorms. Here's your 6-day forecast from the Shepherd's Weather Center on Dr. Don's Weather. For your Sunday, we are looking at a 30 to 40% chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. 88 will be your afternoon high. 72, your overnight low tonight, will hold on to that 30 to 40% chance. Then on Monday, we go to a 60% chance of storms, primarily in the afternoon, 86. 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms on Monday night, and that's where that window of opportunity for severe weather will start. On Tuesday, a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms. We could see some tropical downpours. Some storms could be strong to severe. And that would include all modes of severe weather, to include small spin-up tornadoes. It'll be breezy. Winds will be gusting 10 to 20 miles per hour, maybe. But sustained winds will probably stay below 15 miles per hour across East Alabama. Look at the temperature, would you, though? 79 on Tuesday. Wednesday, we start to see the storm pull off to the northeast, so I think that Some areas, especially south of I-85, will start to see some sun on Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, I think we'll see some sun breaking out across East Alabama and West Georgia. Scattered afternoon showers, 84. On Thursday, the storm's pretty much gone, and we go back to a typical early September weather forecast. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms on Thursday. In the afternoon, 85 your high. And then as we start your Labor Day weekend out there on Friday, 20% chance of afternoon storms. 86 will be your high. 64 will be your overnight low. All right, let's take a look at the Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar this morning. And there it is. We have a full radar view of what is taking place down in the Gulf of Mexico. This is Hurricane Ida. I'm going to take you in pretty close because I want you to see that well-defined eye. I mean, that is just about as symmetrical as you will ever see. The worst of the worst weather, of course, is that yellow and red that's flashing right there around the eye wall. And notice on that last loop, you get it back to the last right there. Notice how we have strong convection all the way around the center of circulation. So normally what we see in hurricanes is we see all of that convection over here on the right-hand side of the storm, or the northeast quadrant of the storm. But because this eye is so well defined and the structure here is so good, I mean, we have fantastic convection taking place all the way around the eye of the storm this morning. Maybe that center of circulation is a few miles to the right of the expected track, but again, kudos to the guys and gals of the National Hurricane Center. It's amazing to me at the precision of their forecast on this particular storm. All right, so the purple you see there, those are all tornado watch boxes. We have a tornado watch now down there in southwest Alabama, basically from Destin all the way over to New Orleans. That is a tornado watch that will be in effect, and that watch box is going to kind of move to the north and then eventually northeast right along with the storm. So you folks up here in West Alabama, get ready. You got a tornado watch coming. It'll probably be later this afternoon or maybe even tonight before you get it, but it's coming. I mean, maybe even as far east as Montgomery, maybe even as far east as Birmingham. Tornado watches are coming for West Alabama. That's a given. And then as the storm turns back up to the north and crosses right there close to northwest Alabama, cannot rule out the possibility that we'll see a tornado watch covering East Alabama. When the storm gets up here to around Jackson, Mississippi, and then starts to curve to the northeast, that's when things start to go downhill for East Alabama and West Georgia. If they do, that's when our opportunity will open up, is when the storm starts to make that turn back to the northeast. So keep that in mind. If it happens sooner, then we could go under the gun sooner. If it happens later, then we may not see anything at all across East Alabama and West Georgia. I think we will, but it could go either way. And we'll take a look at East Alabama and West Georgia. We do have some showers this morning up in Clay County. And you'll see right there, right along the stair step, right there along the Talladega and Clay County line, we have some showers to the west and northwest of Ashland. A few very small showers down here in Chambers County, maybe a couple of light showers up there in Randolph County as well. But not a whole lot happening on the radar this morning across East Alabama and West Georgia, though that will change as we move along. Folks, don't forget to head over to DrDonWX.com, where you can download the Mixler app and listen to God's Country anywhere in the whole wide world. And when you're hanging in East Alabama and West Georgia, be sure and head over to 90.9 FM, listen to God's Country and the classic, 89.7 East Alabama's classic rock giants. We'll head back down to Easy Street. This is New Orleans, Louisiana. In the Big Easy, this is Bourbon Street, and as you can see, things are Pretty quiet down there right now. Just a few scattered light showers from time to time. But that is going to change as the day moves along. This is a live shot of Bourbon Street. We're going to be watching this camera. We're also going to try to get some of our beach cameras back up down there along the Louisiana coast. And I'll be back from time to time with live coverage today. As a matter of fact, as we get close to landfall, I'll come back and we'll show you some of that footage and talk about what's happening. Ida, 150 mile per hour sustained winds this morning. Could the storm grow even stronger? Certainly it could. Could we be looking at a Category 5? We absolutely could. This gentleman thinks that he's in a ghost town right now. Thankfully, there are not a lot of people doing what he's doing. And in about 6 or 7 hours, if he's still there, he's going to wish that he had left. Maybe too late, though. Waited too late. Always just is so frustrating to me because it just doesn't have to be this way. But sometimes people just don't understand, and you can't make them. It's amazing. All right, folks, that's going to do it for your primetime forecast this morning. I'll be back with you later on today as we get close to landfall with Ida, and I'll have coverage for you right here on Dr. Don's Weather. Enjoy your Sunday. And, folks, as you head out to church this morning, or if you're not going to church, please take just a few moments. Get on that right knee and pray for the state of Louisiana. They're going to need all the help they can get. I'll see you later today. Bye now.